other side of the table, Francesca and Elena are, I think, is a great, representation of what Silicon Valley can be, and not only. They came here, and I'm sure they're going to share some of their experience here, but they're now being incubated by 500 startups. For some of you, we talked about 500 startups a couple of days ago, one of the hottest accelerator programs in the Valley. The cool thing is that they're not geeks to some extent, and one is actually coming from a career in theater, and the other one is coming from a career as a journalist. And yet they were able really to win our competition this year, and then right after that being incubated by the hottest startups. I mean, incubator in Silicon Valley. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to leave the words to them. The idea is that they're going to share some of their thoughts. Stefano is going to interview them, and I'll leave it to you guys. Thank you.
You guys got into 500 startups as outliers, so without any connections in the Bay Area and in the Valley.
Hi, so yes, we are Timbuktu. Just a quick introduction. We make an iPad platform for children's content. And yeah, how did we get into 500 startups? We didn't know anybody inside 500 startups when we came here, but 500 startups was actually like our goal. When we came here with Mind the Bridge, we kind of set as our biggest goal to know someone there and to try to get into their program, because we felt that it was the right place for us, for the stage that we're in, and for the kind of market that we're targeting. And so they don't really have an application, a formal application. You can't apply on their website. You just have to find 3 mentors who are willing to introduce you and to their staff. And so it's up to you. You have to contact these people and tell them that your company is a is a hot company. It's a good idea, and that you should. And that you're a good match for them. And so if you're able to convince them, then they will make an introduction for you. And the rule normally is that if you get at least 3 introductions from 3 different mentors that are already part of their network, then you have the possibility to have an interview in their office. And then if the interview goes well, and if they like you still after the interview, then they might decide to invest in your company, and so and so they ask you to become part of their family, as they like to say.
So just for reference, we're talking about 500 startups. You said that you already spoke about this, but it's an incubator funded by Dave McClure down in Mountain View. Their goal is to actually fund 500 startups. So they're at 200 and something right now, I think. So they basically disrupted the whole venture capital model and are placing small bets on a lot of companies that usually wouldn't get funding in traditional venture capital funds, because they're either from abroad or either very designer focused or are in smaller markets. But placing small bets on a lot of this is actually generating good returns for them. So do you want to share something about the experience that you had there, what they focused on, how the mentor network is? And I think that you targeted it also because of their design-centric focus. So also if you want to say something about that.
Yeah, one of the reasons why 500 startups was our goal when we came here was that because Dave McClure is really convinced that the family market is going to become huge in next years. And since what we do is an iPad magazine for families, that was, of course, it seems naturally the right match for us. So what happened is that when we arrived at 500 Startups, we are sharing this experience with some of the competitors that we were following on the internet, on the website, on Twitter. We were trying to study their strategy, and now we're actually sharing an office with them, which is a strange feeling because you're like, we are together and we are kind of the enemies, who's gonna win. And this kind of feeling, it's always there at 500. But the thing is that they kind of managed to make it very positive for the growth of the company. First of all, because I think that the main value of this experience is the fact that they help you a lot to focus on the right things to work on. Because to build $1 billion company, you have to do a billion things. And you gotta start somewhere. And you can start from, there's no way you're gonna get all those billion things right, but it's very important that you understand which are the things that you need to do first. And they help you to choose which are the right things that you should start with working. And this is one of the most important things that we're doing, because when you start from those basic things, you also understand which is the difference between you and your competitors. So some companies that from the website, from the way they were telling what they were doing, seem they seem much more similar to ours than now, because they are focusing more on their product, we're focusing more on our product, and the uniqueness of our stories is kind of emerging. And this is very important, because in the end, what matters is that your story is unique, that you have a strong voice, and that you understand what's the thing that makes your voice unique. Because it's not easy. You have an idea, but unless when you start really working on the right things, then the right spots that you have to bring up emerge. And you kind of understand, okay, this is a priority for me, this is a feature that I can consider to add later, and you build a canvas where you can then add all the things. And this is what happened to the main companies, to Facebook, to whatever. So I think that this is what it means to have a vision. Because Facebook didn't know at the beginning all the features that they would have developed later. We see it now, and we know that it's not now the same thing that it was 4 years ago. But the thing is that if you have a vision, then you can add features. But if you start from the features, then it's very hard to bring it, to make it last. So this is one of the main things that we're learning there.
I think that's a very valuable lesson. I'm sure that you guys are always bombarded with stories about how difficult it is here for European startups compared to people that are around here. Is there any advantage of being European in here? Do we bring any special skill that European startups should focus on when they try to cross the bridge?
Yes, of course, we are Europeans, so that's an advantage, first of all. Well, of course, there are many issues and problems that you have to solve when you come to the US and you want to work. There, the biggest issues is we all know it's visa issues. But if we just forget for a second about the legal problems, I don't think it's more difficult. No, I don't think so. I think that as long as you have a clear vision in mind and a good idea that you want to build, there's no prejudice here. So it's and you feel that it's the limit, there's no limit to what you can do, and so I think it's perfect for any startups coming from anywhere.
Yeah, I think that sometimes what we face is that we feel, and this is very, believe me, this is very strange for me to say, you feel kind of cynical compared with Americans, because sometimes they get excited about things. They were very excited about things, and they kind of seem to have a lot of energy, and sometimes we kind of step back and we are like, yeah, I mean, it's cool. But so I think that this experience that is a very basic experience, because it happens all the time, like for whatever reason. It's something that is very basic, but it's very important, because if you can succeed to become less, to judge less, which is, I think, for us European, very important, and but still to keep your critical attitude on, and to jump more into things, I think that it can become a really win-win relationship.
So I wanted to ask another thing, and then I think that probably the guys here will have a lot of questions for you. So we'll take some from the public. But do you see any specific market other than yours? Just say that your market's not good, so you'll have no competitors. But other markets that are really trending right now here with the incubators, with the VCs. What's the hot spots that people are focusing on, and what's going to be the next thing in the next few years?
Well, there are many things that. Well, one of the hottest for sure, and everybody's talking about that now, is like the big data market. So that's for sure one of the spaces where that will become like huge in the next few years. And then still the gaming market is very hot when you talk to investors, and yeah, I know, and the mobile market in general. So I would say these three. I don't know if you want to add something.
All right. So, how many of you have startups or companies and are planning to either move here or start them in Europe? Okay, that's not so much.
He just decided to do that.
Yes, nice, good choice. Stealth mode. All right, that's pretty cool. So. How many instead would like to come here and join a startup and work at a startup and try to learn? Okay, that's probably a bigger topic. So let's try to go with this. So about hiring, what kind of people are the perfect fit for early stage startups that are either incubated or are going out of incubators? What kind of skills are you looking for in people that are at early stage startups?
Wow, this is a very good question, because actually like hiring and human resources for startups is one of the toughest thing, I think. And we were lucky because we found, even before coming here, we very soon we found people who really shared our vision about digital products for children and digital communication for children. So it was easy to start working with them and to bring them into our team. So I would say that the most important thing is to choose someone that you feel that is as passionate as you are about what you're doing, because the technical skills are always something that you can learn. But the vision about what you're doing is not something that you can learn as easily. So I think, yeah, this is the most important thing so far. And I think we're seeing this, especially now that we're for the first time together with our complete team. Now we're four. it's been only me and Francesca for the past 2 years, but now for the first time we have also our developer and our designer with us in Mountain View, and so it's a huge shift and it's a big change, both in perspective change and also material change, because you start working as a team and you start thinking as a company, and everything becomes more real, and you also have more responsibility towards who's working with you.
I think that one other very big challenge in hiring is that if you're a startup, it means unless you aren't a professional, I mean, you don't come from, you weren't an HR in a big company, you don't have any experience in hiring people. For me, I was never been hired, so I didn't have any experience at all in this kind of stuff. So interviewing people, what? And the thing is that the hard thing is that you have to find some people that share your attitude towards work, but that are not too much similar to you. Because diversity, it's very important for a startup. So finding because if you hire someone that is too much different from you, then it's gonna be troubles. But also if you fall in love with a person that is like more or less, that has more or less the same set of skills, the same way of thinking, that's very tough as well, because it's not really adding value to your company. So finding this balance, I think it's one of the most critical things when hiring for a startup.
All right, thank you. So one last thing, and then we'll leave it to the public. 3 reasons why, since they're not thinking about creating startups, why they should instead of doing whatever else it is that they want to do.
Okay, first thing is do something that you like, which is not so easy when you work for somebody else. And then, of course, have an impact on the world, on society, on what's around you. That's certainly our main driver. And the last one, let me think about it. Which, I mean, having, yeah, I mean, yeah, say the third one.
Yeah. I think that one thing is that if you're not satisfied with how many things work, doing a startup is great, because you can build from scratch something that didn't exist before. This is amazing. Like, I don't know. Yesterday, for example, we are a family product, okay? So yesterday it was the World Day Against Homophobia, no? And we posted on Facebook a video of a kid talking about 2 husbands, and he was so quiet about this thing. He was so, it was very funny, because for us it was almost natural. And this is something that I challenge every magazine that is established magazine that is targeting families. There is no magazine that targets families that could have done such a thing, and we did, because I mean we have a bunch of readers. They're not millions, but they're but we don't have that much to lose. And so we can be courageous, we can build things in another way. And you can't imagine the love that we've been showed by our followers on Facebook for this thing. People recognize when they see that something is different and you're making things in a different way, you're not thinking as a corporation, you're just exploring new ways. People are thankful for this. And that there's nothing better.
Wow, that's a really nice thought, and I want to leave you with this. So, big round of applause for them. So you have the chance to ask them questions. Who wants to start? don't be shy. There you go.
I really like the way both these girls are very intelligent. They have all the talent to express themselves fully, articulating the vision and what you want to do. I was wondering, you said you're both below 30, right? Below 30?
Below 30,
Yeah. So actually, most of the entrepreneurs are below 30. But the thing is to make it happen, you know, like you said, you have to take a few steps to make it happen. First of all, I wanted to ask you if you didn't have any experience before, and now you are trying to embrace some experience to spearhead you in what your vision is. There needs some people who are not your age, or maybe who have experienced America and other countries, to have the experience, because you're going to be marketing in America, in Italy, and maybe India, China, I don't know. So tell us, how would you spearhead, you know, your vision and expertise in this state of innovation? Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think that yeah, as I was saying before, it's crucial to have like different approach, different ways to see things in a startup, because of course you have a limited experience and there are many challenges that you face. And I don't think it is I mean, of course you ask help to a lot of people, and you have to, because you don't know it all, and you have to understand which are the right people. But in the end, what you come up with is that in the end you take decisions, and you need to understand what's the right thing to do next. And in our experience so far, it hasn't been really a matter of age. So we started working in Milan, and our magazine has always been in English. So we started like, okay, let's make it in English, because in the US there are more iPads, because if we, I mean, I can't lie, but because if we make it in English, Italians will say it's cooler because it's in English, and they are downloading it in the United States, so they will say, wow. So, and this is how we started. We didn't know anything about marketing on the App Store. We didn't know anything about marketing in the US. We just did whatever, I mean, what we could do from our experience was write the best possible stories, illustrate the best possible stories. We put all our experience in our fields in that thing to make it the best that we could. So now we're learning many things, and we're like meeting many people, but it's never a matter of geography, or, I mean, there are some people that have worked, for example, a lot of time in Japan, and you ask them like, what should I do to bring my product in Japan, and you ask for advice in that particular field, or so you compose your experience talking to people, and this is why the Silicon Valley is a great place to be for a startup, because the amount of people that have an expertise in the areas that are crucial for a startup is huge compared with any other place in the world. So if I want to go to the Japanese market, I make a couple of phone calls, and I talk to a person that has brought, I don't know, Facebook to Japan. I don't know, something like very big. And this doesn't happen anywhere else. And yeah, I think this is more or less what.
All right, let me go around with that. Well, the first one, you are.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what was it about your product, because I'm not really familiar with it, but what was it in society or the world, like that niche that you wanted to fill, that you felt was not being fulfilled currently? Or how is it that your product is distinguished, that maybe ties to a personal passion about how you see the world and how you're making it a better place?
Why is your product so cool?
Okay, so, well, the most important thing for us was to build something that could change the relationship between children and grown-ups, and that could help, really help, and improve the communication between children and grown-ups. So not only between children and parents, but between children and grown-ups in general. So that was, from the beginning, our biggest goal. Because we think that we started because we were just very tired of seeing all the same plain and very poor communication for children in every field, on TV, in magazines, and in newspapers. Like, our society takes for granted that children are something that you can care of only when they become adults, but actually they deserve to be respected even when they're still younger than that. And so that was the niche that we were targeting. Families, young families that have small children and that want to discover the world with them and build a relationship with them since childhood. And so use their strength and their imagination. Don't be too much concerned about that if you're thinking about starting a company. It will come up if you have a good vision to start with. And because actually, when you think, if you build a company thinking only about what will come in the end, it's a big distraction. You have to focus first on what you're building, and then what will emerge. It will emerge anyway in a very natural way. And so what we're seeing right now is that even if we didn't have a business plan, now this business plan is growing together with our product. So I think it's wrong to think that the business plan is something unrelated and disconnected to the product. It's not something that you can plan in advance without having a product to begin with.
I would say that one of the things that have been very powerful as an experience at 500 startups is that, and this is very different from the approach that we had in Italy. When we started doing startup competitions in Italy, I think all of them started with a business plan or some kind of business plan, like a simplified version of a business plan. And the beginning of the path with 500 Startup was a 1 month work on designing the products and doing user research. Learn how to do user research. What are the problems that your product is going to solve, and how can you understand if people really have that problem, or if you're creating a problem and a solution for a problem that it's yours and it's not the people's problem. So when you start from the business plan, to me it sounds like your approach is kind of corrupted, because you are trying to find a business before thinking about whose needs am I going to, because your product is going to be for the people, not for the investors. So, and the investors will be very happy if you can solve the problem of a really big number of people. So if you start with studying and listening, because the business plan is speaking, I think this, and this. While they have a very design-focused approach, and they teach you how to listen before starting speaking. And this is something that is really it's meaningful for when you're building a startup.
I guess to summarize what Francesca and Elena are saying is that the 20,000-30,000 euros that you spend for your masters are probably worthless. But so sorry, no kidding. This is a lean startup approach. Okay, last question here. Where's the last question?
I don't need the mic.
Yeah, no, you look so much cooler with a mic.
Wow, that threw me off. Real quick, what pitfalls would you then give those that are coming out here to the Valley? Because angel investors are kind, VCs, their motivation is a return on investment, right? So if you miss a milestone, what could be your baby, your dream, no longer is yours. It's now someone else's to do that. So how would you kind of share with these people the things to avoid that maybe it sounds like you haven't experienced, but surely you're aware of with the conversations you've had of VCs and their expectations?
Very good question. Pitfalls. All right. Back to you.
Yes, we're totally aware of this, and we know that. I mean, it's part of the game. You always know that you can lose, and you can lose your company also if it doesn't work for VC standards. When you accept to play with these rules, with the lean startup and with the rules of the VC world, then you agree on that, and then of course that can happen. But I think that the most important thing that protects you from this is that you have to build relationship with your investors. So your investors are not just people who give you money, but they're people who you really want to become part of your vision and of your company. So as long as you're able to build relationships with them, even if you miss a milestone, I think they won't. I mean, there might be still some possibilities that they want to kick you off, but if you have a good relationship with them and they know that you're an important asset for the team and for the company, they won't get rid of you, I think.
Won't get rid of you. All right, so we got to the end. Let's give them a good round of applause. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Francesca. So talk to them before they fly too high. In the next couple of months, they will fly so high that it will be impossible to talk to them. So take advantage of that. So anyway, thanks again for coming here. It's been a pleasure to host you for the week for the people that came from Spain, and hope to see you soon. Thank you, guys.